I don't think you know the competitive edge that Sunshine Coast enjoys currently. Madam Mayor said about that situation where Sunshine Coast competed with Sydney. For us to make a decision where to land a cable is a very involved and difficult one that involves lots and lots of items. Just to give you some color, and that is one of our objectives tonight, is to go through the machinations and the genesis of a subsea cable. But talking about the landing of the cable here in the Sunshine Coast, when we were doing our decision-making process, we scanned and scouted over 200 kilometers of coastal line north of Sydney, trying to find an alternative location to land a cable. And Sunshine Coast won. So we have to keep that in mind. We do believe in the Sunshine Coast. So that's great to be here. We are very happy and humbled with that opportunity to be able to partner with NextDC and with the Sunshine Coast Council. We worked with so many people in the Sunshine Coast Council who have been very well received right from the beginning when we approached the council with this crazy idea of landing another cable here. And the vision that was shared with us by the council and by so many professionals in the Sunshine Coast, as well as in NextDC, was amazing. Really consonnated with what we had in mind. And here we are. We are now on a stage where we achieved a critical mass to allow us to talk more about the Australia Connect initiative, how that fits into a much bigger picture, because Australia is not isolated, thank you, from the rest of the world. That fits into the South Connect activity or initiative, the Central Connect initiative, which are basically this worldwide subsea cable program that Google has in place. So I'll start talking about cables. We think about subsea cables as being something large in nature, and they do extend for thousands and thousands of kilometers. But at the end of the day, it is something as small as this. This is a subsea cable. The project itself is very, very exciting. It enables a lot of things. It is an enabler, but the footprint we're left with is, look, putting things in comparison. If you can see the screens from there, this one has is 1.3 centimeters thick. The magic happens inside. That's where the optical fibers are, multiple fiber pairs usually when you land into a location, because we always think about the future, how to scale the networks, how to service and enable different services in present as well as in the future. And of course, as the cable gets closer to the shorelines, we have to protect this subsea cable with an outer layer, a protection layer, which is the picture you can see on the right. So basically, the thickness of the cable increases from 1.3 centimeters to something around 5 centimeters. So it's very environment friendly. It's largely passive. And I'd just like to share a video with you about another cable we landed elsewhere that was called the Topaz cable. Like here, that was a first when we landed the Topaz cable, which connected Japan and Canada directly. So it does take a lot to land a cable. And we also, it was said in the video that it was the first cable that connected North America to Asia back then, in 2023, that was. Now we have fast forwarded to 2025, and after this initiative from Google is completed, Google will have the largest subsea cable plant in the whole world. It's not a matter of contest. It takes a lot of CAPEX and takes a lot of OPEX. It's a matter of necessity, because we know a world where AI is really coming. It is happening. It's not the future. So much so that we have an example here that we are going to talk about soon by Brad. And that's great to see services like this happening. A cable is an enabler. It goes hand in hand with data centers, which NextDC is doing this very successfully across the world, not only in Australia. So if we look at the global map of submarine cables today, this is how it looks like. So this is public available information if you refer to that website there. The total sum of submarine cables is responsible for carrying around 98% of total comms in the world today. So everything internet, broadband, at the end of the day, we think about wireless, but wireless really is last mile. There's a massive infrastructure behind it, and 98% of this traffic is carried by submarine cables. If you go a little bit deeper into that map, you're going to see a large concentration of cables in these segments, which is in the Northern Hemisphere. So if there are any issues of geopolitical or physical nature, like disasters, tectonic plates moving, in that part of the world, that impacts the whole world in terms of communication and our ability to live our lives. So that's where the Australia Connect initiative came about, which is diversifying away from these Northern Hemisphere-oriented routes, moving traffic and create a more resilient way of moving traffic and data around through the South Pacific region. So we announced Australia Connect, and that has some key locations. Sunshine Coast is one of them. Okay, there is a Tabua cable there that connects Sunshine Coast with Sydney. From there, if you think about global connectivity, to Fiji, straight to North America. But you have to keep in mind, like the video said, and I'm sure you paid attention, Google's network is a mesh network. So from here, from the Sunshine Coast, we can go anywhere. It's not only a point-to-point connectivity whatsoever. For any business who are more focused on Australian territory, who is more concerned about connecting Sunshine Coast with Perth, look at the map. There are some key cities there that we are landing this infrastructure into, to Sydney, to Melbourne, to Perth, to the Christmas Island, to Darwin. And how about the terrestrial connectivity? That's not even in the map yet. So that's where we are. That's what the Australia Connect project or initiative is. We do need cables for ourselves. We have a very large suite of products that we are going to need more and more capacity to serve based on the Google suite, like Google Mail, Google Calendar, YouTube, you name it. And of course, on the top of it, we have Gemini, we have AI, who is always evolving. Today, you have a lot of concentration in terms of AI farms in the Northern Hemisphere. They are necessary, they're important, and they do play a very important role in the world. Everything you see with these AI farms. So for instance, if you're watching a YouTube video in Swedish, and you want to translate this into English, you want to translate this into Afrikaans, Zulu, pick a language. So there we go. These large language models, LLMs as we call it, they collaborate and they learn a lot faster if they are concentrated together. Now let's think on the opposite side of the spectrum when it comes to AI. I'm sure Brad is going to talk about a very interesting application. Think about AI applications, evolving the idea, where somebody, for instance, who is visually impaired, somehow get an AI-enabled implant that allows that person to bypass their eyeballs altogether and connect a very complex imagery system straight into the ocular muscle and process that information. Think about that. This is an application being studied in terms of AI development. Can the center or the database be based in North America if this person is walking here in the Sunshine Coast? Of course not. You need real time. So this is the other side of the spectrum when it comes to AI applications. So we're going to need a bunch of different applications, a bunch of different solutions as things evolve in terms of AI, which comes to great benefit to all of us, where we need this type of infrastructure available and supporting us for. So everything that comes to the support of an ever-growing necessity to consume data and make applications available, combined with AI, with the ability of doing machine learning, and the famous 3 Rs when it comes to global networking, which is, you can see there in the slide, which is all about resiliency, which is all about reliability of the network. This is a major driver for us. Something, though, that I get a lot, and I want to make it clear, that is not a driver for us. We, Google, are not competing in the retail space, okay? A submarine cable is essentially a wholesale element. It is an enabler. So we enable a very fast-pacing, high-capacity network to allow for all the other applications, ISPs, everything to actually leverage on and partner with us. So, for instance, a classic example here is the Data Connect initiative from the Council that is being launched today as well. That is more on the retail space. We are collaborating with the Council, and we are pleased and humbled by that opportunity. That is a great initiative. So the infrastructure will be in place. So how do we leverage on that infrastructure to make this matchmaking of necessity and capacity availability that leverages on this type of infrastructure? That is on the retail side. We are here to enable this dynamic to take place. And we are pleased to collaborate in that regard. Okay? So, for the Sunshine Coast, and to give you more color on what we're doing, that wiggly line there you can see is represents the interconnectivity between the existing cable where it lands. They land on the same point, which called as point beach main hole, which is basically a telecoms pit on the floor. Nobody knows. Remember, the subsea cable is a boring infrastructure. Nobody sees that. What it enables is what is amazing for all of us as human beings. So we have the JGA South landing. We're going to have the Tabua cable landing. They leverage on the same infrastructure that, once again, was laid by the Council over 10 years ago, and it was amazing what the Council did then and is doing now. And that converges into NextDC SC1 data center. For us, a key decision, a key point for us to commit to the Sunshine Coast was the ability to grow the footprint. And that 200 million investment that NextDC is committing to the region is just amazing. That is going to allow us to expand our footprint as well, to commit further to the region, and allow our connectivity to support our products as well as to support our customers only grow. Okay? So for businesses, as you can see in the map on the left, it's not only about interconnecting the Sunshine Coast to the rest of the world, but to interconnect Sunshine Coast to all these other major centers, where we are going to have either our own data centers or partner with NextDC and others for us to have a presence like we have here as well, and enable and deliver the same type of services.